Campaign 2020 is sponsored by Wisconsin Hospital Association, Quick Trip, Wisconsin Counties Association, Wisconsin Realtors Association, and Wisconsin Operating Engineers Local 139.
Aaron Perry of Waukesha is a Democratic candidate in the 97th Assembly District. The election is November 3. Aaron, welcome to WisconsinEye.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You say in your campaign website that you want to make profound changes in the tax laws. Can you elaborate on that? What changes?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. I'm an advocate of local control, being a three-time elected alderman here in the city. I understand what the state puts in and what the city puts in. And so there's a change that absolutely needs to happen with the expenditure restraint program, the ERP, as they call it. They're not giving enough credit to cities that are expanding the way that they should be. And that's been a big part of my area of working, with the council, that we're doing redevelopment, we're doing development, and when we're only getting 70% back from the state, it's a tough thing on the state, or on the city level to make ends meet. And so, yeah, we do have antiquated tax laws. And
here's following up on that. Is it time to get rid of the property tax caps and limits that local governments have been living with for more than 20 years to hold down property taxes on homes?
My answer is yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, then
I understand their purpose, but going forward, I've been on the finance committee for now 8 budgets. And so I understand, how we make ends meet. And when it comes to the state and the city, it doesn't make any sense going forward to keep what we've been doing.
Well, let me take it a step forward. Representative Goyke has a bill. If the city of Milwaukee passed a referendum, the city could levy a half-cent sales tax. My question is, do cities, villages, and towns need new revenue options to lessen their reliance on the property tax?
Oh my goodness, yes. Yes. I can tell you financially, unfortunately, the city of Waukesha, or the county, we are probably 2 budgets away from needing a sales tax. And I know our county is one that has not had one, but in order for us to pay the bills, when you cut taxes, you cut services. So what I want to know from people, and what I'm willing to listen to, is if you're okay with cutting taxes, that's fine. I'll listen to you. I want to know what services that you don't want then. Okay. So going forward, though, we are going to have to raise revenue to continue to keep the same services. And that's something I think, Waukesha, the city of Waukesha, the village of Waukesha, Waukesha County, we've become accustomed to having high quality services. And so I don't think that's something that people will say no to.
Well, given your familiarity with public financing, here's my question. If the state budget is, I'm going to make up a number, if it's $1 billion short because of the pandemic, how would you make up on a state budget level $1 billion shortfall? Would you cut taxes? Would you would you cut spending? Would you raise taxes or fees?
I think there's a happy medium in there. I think we lack a source of revenue with transportation. That's one thing that we have not explored all of our options on transportation, and that's a way to gain revenue. The last thing I want to do is take money out of people's pockets, but that's where I think people like me, we understand that we need to listen to what people want. Do you want to raise taxes, or do you want less services?
Okay.
And it's pretty clear and cut right there.
Well, when you talk about transportation, last year, as you may recall, the governor wanted to raise the gas tax. Gas
Yes.
tax is 30.9 cents per gallon, hasn't been raised in 10 or 12 years. To
Right.
stabilize funding for highways and bridges, could you vote to raise the gas tax?
Yes, I would.
How many pennies?
And to be clear, because I think you should know and everyone else should know, that is something that I previously, 6 years ago, when I ran for assembly, I said no raise to the gas tax. I think we're in a different scenario now, and we have different needs now, and those needs require revenue. And one of those appropriate revenues is the gas tax.
Okay.
I mean, that's how we pay for things.
Okay.
If people want good roads, which we need to for, economic expansion, then we have to do that.
Last week, the governor extended the statewide face mask edict till November 21. Do you support that?
Yes.
Okay. We've seen hospitals, the role they've played nationally and, of course, in Wisconsin, treating COVID-19 patients. If you're in the assembly voting on the next state budget, do hospitals deserve an even greater priority than they may have in the current budget?
To me, much more. Yeah, I think we actually have to, going forward, I think we have to redefine what the title of essential worker means. And we have to establish a specific rate of pay for them. Because we've found in 2020 here that, my goodness, the people in the healthcare field, they mean a lot to us. And I know it's not been raised for a long, long time, but I would be in favor, and I've said this publicly, of the minimum wage being $18.50. And after depending on your percentage of taxes, that's $555 a week. And so that's before healthcare, that's before gas, that's before food. That's just your take-home pay, $555 a week, with a minimum wage of $18.50. So why we're not valuing the people doing the work that most of us rely on is it's kind of dumbfounding.
Within the last 3 weeks, a bill has been introduced in the legislature, and it says this: if you're an organization that has complied with COVID-19 protocols, you could not face a COVID-19 lawsuit. Your reaction to that bill, could you support it?
Well, I think with COVID-19, this is an evolving issue. And so legally, I think it's going to get really complicated. And at this point, I'm on day 4 of quarantine with my son. So his class at school, his public school, had a positive test. And so for 14 days, he's going to stay home. And that's my priority right now. I think for us to make snap decisions on legislation, it doesn't seem like a good idea. I think we're going to have a lot to tackle. Next May and June when we do the next budget. And thankfully, we're going to have a bunch of Democrats in there to help out.
As states around Wisconsin legalize medical and recreational marijuana, what's your position?
Sure. I'm happy to talk about this. So in 2018, I brought forth the referendum question for the city of Waukesha, which is one of the reddest areas in the country. I got it passed through the council, and it passed through the city with 77%. So that was medicinal only. My position is I believe this is actually a very key part of reform that we need. And I've talked with Melissa Sargent, and we're going to work together on this. But having that legalized on a medicinal level and then recreational helps two different things. So not only do we give another healthcare option for people who are struggling, we make that available to them. But then on the recreational side, we bring in all that revenue, which we're going to need for the state's bounce back economically. And so, and what I want to do with that revenue specifically is I want to have a portion of it go towards veterans care, towards sustainability studies for the climate, and homelessness would be a third one. And the amount of revenue that that's going to bring in, it will serve those purposes. And so that's actually a big portion of what I'm kind of running on, and I've had that support here.
The debate over policing reforms. The governor's got 9 bills. The Republican Senator Van Wangard's got a few bills. The Black Caucus has got bills, and the speaker's forming a press conference. My question is this: any specific policing reforms you're convinced should be enacted into law?
Well, I guess here's my position, is having been an alderman for 8 years, I met with our chief of police, our new one, last week, in fact, and we talked about this. And he worked in Milwaukee. So we have that demographic here in Waukesha, which I think is great. And I think there's a couple ways to look at this. I think it should be looked at from a local municipality level, because the Minneapolis police is not the same as the Waukesha police. And so the same rules shouldn't apply. And I think any reform that happens needs to be in collaboration with the police department, which is why, since before I was even elected alderman, I did a ride-along, because I wanted to know what they go through. And there's now actually 2 chiefs who I've been their alderman. So I'm pretty qualified actually to talk on that. But I was also asked the question with the NSAW endorsement, that would you support 8 hours of training for officers on force? And I said, no, I wouldn't. I would support 40.
40. Okay.
Yeah, I would support 40. Because do I personally think their role should change? Yes, I do. I think there's too many calls that are not criminal that are going to them, and they could be gone to other people. But I think any changes need to happen in collaboration with the police department. It shouldn't be
Understand.
forced upon them.
Okay, time is getting short on us here. Do you support the governor's plan for a People's Maps Commission to draw the next set of congressional and legislative lines?
100% yes.
Okay, that was easy. Moving on. With the benefit of your local government experience, when a local government or a school district plans a major public works project, should they have to give a preference to Wisconsin businesses, Aaron?
Should they give a preference to?
Yep. Preference to Wisconsin businesses?
Boy, that's a good question. I don't get stumped very often.
Well, if you don't have a position, we can move on. That's okay.
Well, no, I'll say no.
Okay. And then finally, you want to highlight differences between you and the incumbent you're up against on November 3?
How much time you got?
I got about 30 seconds.
Okay. I just approach government different than Scott Allen. He has supported what is going to very likely be the most embarrassing 4 years of leadership in this country. And he's stood by Trump every step of the way. And I have not. I've made that very clear. And in Waukesha County, I think we need a difference of opinion and someone who's pragmatic and who has experience like I do. I know how to represent the people here better than Scott. So that's why me and not him.
Appreciate that. Aaron Perry of Waukesha is a Democrat running in the 97th Assembly District. The election is November 3. Aaron, thank you for talking to WisconsinEye.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Campaign 2020 is sponsored by Wisconsin Hospital Association, Quick Trip, Wisconsin Counties Association, Wisconsin Realtors Association, and Wisconsin Operating Engineers Local 139.